Super Mario Odyssey Part 2, so here we are in Cascade Kingdom, the second kingdom that we run into in this game, and this is of course my playthrough for Mario Odyssey, which is not really a live playthrough, but also isn't really a walkthrough, so I don't know. It's a really awesome game though. I mean, look at the view, look at this background. Now, I was almost hoping just a little bit that this game would be kinda like Breath of the Wild and there'd be this huge sprawling open world that's all connected and all kinds of platforming stuff that you get to do. But no, each world is each kingdom is basically its own world. It kinda goes back to Super Mario 64 in a way, I guess, where they scatter all the stars in Super Mario 64, and in this game they're scattering all the moons that we're going to be collecting, and our first moon will be coming up here somewhat soon. I mean, first there's a lot of stuff to do. There's some coins that you collect in each world, and those coins are only good for those worlds, and of course there's coins that you can collect for any world, which are just regular plain old Mario coins. You also get to learn a few new moves here. As we see, it's going to tell us that we can create a homing cap attack, where if you swing the Joy-Con and then you move it again, the cap will home in on an enemy in case you miss it. But I think you can also get that same effect just by pushing the Y button twice. So here we get a chain Chomp, and the thing that you're going to need to do with him is put your hat on him and then smash into that block that has the first moon in it, but I will be doing that in a second, I think, or am I doing it right now? I'm not too sure here. I'm missing a lot of stuff here because the controls for this are a little bit sketchy at first, and I think my Switch has the left Joy-Con issue, which is a little bit weird because my whole time playing Breath of the Wild I didn't have any problems with my left Joy-Con, so I don't know why it's suddenly kicking up now, but anyway, I'm wandering around like an idiot because, you know, brand new game, trying to figure out what there is to do. Also discovered, okay, is wall jumping in here? And the answer to that is yes, and there's a couple of stuff back here. There's a couple of coins. There's 3 coins kind of hiding back here, and then these hats that will turn into clouds if you hit them with your hat, so that's kind of good for that. Then I'm also discovering, okay, is there a ground pound? Yes, there is, and then finally I figure out, alright, let's turn into this guy, and then we can smash open this block. Now the controls are a little bit strange. It says you pull left to wind up, but it's not really clear on what it meant by that, so it took me one try to kind of get it. Finally I got it. All you gotta do is just pull it in the opposite direction that you want the chain chomp to go, and then you can bust open that block, and we get our first power moon. These power moons replace power stars, which I think is a little bit interesting that they go from moons to stars, since they've had some variation of a star since forever, but hey, I'm all for it. I mean, shine sprites in Super Mario Sunshine weren't exactly stars, they may as well have been, but I guess power moons are too. So the main goal of this is, I believe the title of the video even, Multi-Moon Atop the Falls, and we can see that there's a big old boss up there, and you can actually get to that boss pretty quickly. The cool thing about these worlds is that you can skip a whole heck of a lot of power moons and just finish it normally, but in order to continue, we're going to need to use our Odyssey ship, as we see here. So this is pretty much I thought this was going to be a little bit cooler. I mean, in Super Mario Galaxy, you know, you get that huge giant starship that has all the stuff that gets unlocked, and I was kind of hoping that the Odyssey was going to be a little bit like that, but unfortunately you don't spend a whole lot of time in the Odyssey right away anyway. So as we see here, you put the hat on the globe, and it'll tell you how many power moons you're going to need to get to the next area, or in this case, just power up the ship. So we're going to need 4, and in the top left corner of our screen, we can see there's a bunch of circles underneath our coins that has spaces for power moons, and in any level that you're going to go into, you're going to have to fill in all those circles so you can continue forward in the game. But luckily, it's pretty darn easy to get a ton of power moons, and some levels are going to require you get 20 plus power moons to continue. That's really not hard to do. All you have to do is explore just a little bit and you'll be good to go. I also find it really strange there's absolutely no fall damage in this game. At least from what I can tell, I have yet to experience any kind of damage from falling anywhere, so that's really weird to get used to, because I don't remember the last Mario game I played that doesn't have fall damage, except for like Alright, sorry about that. That's probably going to be a weird choppiness in the narration because I had a microphone issue there, and I don't really remember what I was talking about. I think it was something about fall damage and how most Mario games have fall damage, the 3D ones anyway, but this one doesn't have fall damage, so I don't know, it's just been, it's weird to get used to that. So here, there's a couple of ways you can actually bust down these walls. You can use your hat on one of the chain chomps, which we did before, and break the walls that way, but I don't know if you can reach all the way with those chain chomps, so the other more fun, way more awesome option is just to use your hat on the T-Rex, and the T-Rex will let you bust down everything. I mean, I didn't think, I remember seeing this in the trailers where people were playing as a T-Rex, but I did not think you'd get to use him this early on. That was pretty darn hilarious to me. That was so much fun. Man, I love this game. And of course, I got a little bit worried here. I thought maybe he'd get up and start attacking me and coming after me, but it seems like he is totally docile. He just kind of stays sleeping over in his spot, and you don't really have to worry about him. Get this power moon because we are going to need 4 of them, and that's going to be one of them. The other 3 we're going to get from the boss at the end of the level, and it's going to be our first multi-moon. Also, pay attention, I think I mentioned this earlier, but like I said, I don't really remember what I talked about because I narrated this whole video, and then I found out like the first third of the video was narrated, and then the last third wasn't. For some reason my microphone just quit working, so I don't know, it's working now. But anyway, hit those hats, get the clouds, and don't walk past those coins like I did. I wasn't sure how to get them, and a little bit I realized, oh, you're supposed to use your hat to collect the coins because your hat can pick stuff up for you. So I do finally see that in a couple of seconds, or maybe a minute or two here. But anyway, first we're going to worry about this little circle of flowers that I was not too sure how to deal with. Then I read the sign, and it tells you you're supposed to move the Joy-Cons both to the left at the same time, and if you have them connected in the controller, if you just kind of shift it to the left horizontally, then it does the same thing. It'll spin your hat in a big circle around you, and that's a really good way of getting your hat to spin, obviously, around you in a very, whoops, keep hitting my desk there, anyway, in a very wide circle that attacks all the enemies that might be surrounding you. So it is a useful attack, and of course, here, the jumping, you know, I don't think I'm the only one because everyone I played that game with had the same issue, but in Mario 3D World, the last Mario game on the Wii U, a huge issue I had with jumping was depth perception because I had no idea where you're supposed to jump, and eventually I ended up paying a ton of attention to the shadow, and in this game you pretty much have to do the same thing, but I am having a little bit of issues with depth perception at the beginning of this game, but I do get better at it. It's not nearly as bad as Crash Bandicoot because I replayed, I played through the Crash Bandicoot HD trilogy that they released, and the first game was like really hard. I mean, that is not an easy game. But one of the big issues with the first game, or the hardest levels, are the ones where you have to jump forward, and you have no real sense of depth perception that way because you think you're jumping onto a platform when really you need to pull yourself back and jump a little bit backward because you think you're jumping too far back. And anyway, if you played the new one, you probably know what I'm talking about. And in Crash Bandicoot, the shadow doesn't show up until you're just about to hit the floor, so you can't even rely on your shadow. You have to actually get good at playing as Crash and jumping forward. And that takes a while to get used to because the controls are pretty different. Also, try to catch that pile of coins so it doesn't fall off and bounce into the abyss as it did with mine. Anyway, my point is, in this game, I was getting a little bit off with the depth perception at first, but I was getting better at it. It's really not too bad. And I guess that's pretty much all there is to say about jumping. So anyway, hit your hat on that, what's that thing called, the chain chomp, and then bust open this wall, and we get to experience our first 2D side-scrolling-ish thing of this game. And this really brought me back for some reason. I mean, I've played a ton of Mario Maker, and a ton of the levels are made in the original Mario style, but for some reason this in particular just kind of brought me back to when I was 6 years old playing Super Mario on the NES. And that may have in part to do with the fact that I'm having way more fun in this game just right from the start than I was with Mario Maker, and I love Mario Maker, I absolutely do, but it's not really a real Mario game, you know, it's just a bunch of Mario games that other people made, and I don't know. I love Mario Maker. It's a lot of fun, but you can't really take it seriously because there's not really real levels on there. But in this game, where I can take it I can take it as seriously as you can take a Mario game. I'm having a ton of fun knowing that I'm gonna go save Peach again, and then I get to play on that 2D style from the NES days, and it just, I don't know, it was so much fun. This game is so much fun. Anyway, that's not going to be the last 2D scroller platforming wall thing we'll be doing. There's going to be many more, and of course, if you climb up to that pole, you'll notice there is a power moon up off in the distance there, and you can come back to these worlds later to collect all of them. And we're not going to be getting that one in this video, but I was checking this here, checking out this Triceratops head just to make sure there's no coins, no world coins hiding inside of its eyeballs or anything. But when you're ready, run up here and jump right into the boss fight. So this boss is going to be a little bit more challenging than the first one we fought, thankfully, but the bosses in this game don't seem to be too difficult really at all, at least not yet. I've only played through about 6 worlds so far, I think. No, hold on, that's a lie. 4 or 5 worlds. I was counting something else. Anyway, I haven't played through too many worlds, and the worlds have some of the worlds have multiple bosses, but none of them so far have been too difficult. I kind of hope the game gets significantly harder, but you know, I'm not expecting it to be that difficult. But I guess I was getting my hopes up a little bit just because Breath of the Wild was a strangely difficult game at the beginning. I mean, it's a lot like Dark Souls, where it's really hard at first, and once you learn all the enemies' attacks, it's pretty dang easy. But anyway, that's like a complaint for another video. So for this, as you can see, for this boss fight, all you need to do is knock the hat off of the Chain Chomp, and then you need to use your hat on him again, and then try to go away from this person so she can't grab you, and then wait until she starts pulling on the chain, and then that'll let you whack the Chain Chomp right in front of her. If you notice where the arrows are going, all you have to do is hit your hat kind of at the end of the arrows, and then you'll be able to hit the Chain Chomp there. And once you do that 3 times, as usual, you will get your first multi-moon, and that'll allow you to continue to your first adventure in the next world on the Odyssey ship. And of course, that'll be it for this video.
Hey, hey! Stick のフェイナー